happened at the Oxford Union? A highly anticipated debate, a last-minute cancellation, and now a full-blown international blame game. Let's break down the chaotic events that turned a prestigious intellectual showdown into a complete farce, with accusations of sabotage, cowardice, and organizational failure flying in every direction. The stage was set at the world-famous Oxford Union for a fiery debate on a provocative motion. This house believes that India's response to Pakistan is a populist strategy sold as security policy. It promised to be a clash of titans, a rare opportunity for high-level figures from both nations to argue their cases on a neutral, globally respected platform. But just hours before it was scheduled to begin on November 27th, the entire event imploded, leaving a trail of confusion and very public recriminations. What went wrong? Well, that depends entirely on who you ask. Let's start with the Indian side, represented vocally by lawyer Sai Deepak. He was one of the speakers ready to argue against the motion, defending India's policies. According to his detailed account posted on X, this whole affair was, in his words, a Pakistani gambit to avoid confrontation. He claims the Pakistani delegation essentially chickened out. Deepak's narrative paints a picture of an event that was shaky from the very beginning. He pointed out what he saw as a potential conflict of interest within the Oxford Union's leadership. The president, Musa Haraj, is allegedly the son of Pakistan's Minister of Defense Production, and the treasurer, Raza Nazar, is also a Pakistani national. Deepak suggests this created an environment ripe for manipulation. The problems for the Indian side started a couple of days before the debate. The original star-studded lineup, which included former Indian Army Chief General Naravain and Dr. Subramanian Swamy, had to pull out due to unavoidable commitments. This sent the organizers scrambling for replacements. Despite the incredibly short notice, Sai Deepak, who was already on board, managed to assemble a new team from within the UK, bringing in Manu Khajuria and pundit Satish K. Sharma to argue India's case. They were ready to go. Then, the final collapse happened. On the day of the debate, at 3:13 p.m., Deepak says he received a call. The message was alarming. The Pakistani delegation, which included prominent figures like former Foreign Minister Hina Rabbani Kar and Defense Minister Khwaja Mohammad Asif, had not even landed in London yet. Hearing this, the Indian team, who were on their way, decided to abandon their journey to Oxford. After all, you can't have a debate if one side doesn't show up. But here's where the story takes a truly bizarre turn. A short while later, Deepak claims he received confirmation that the Pakistani delegation had, in fact, landed. Not only had they landed, but they were reportedly checked into a hotel right there in Oxford. This revelation completely changed the narrative. For Sai Deepak, this was the smoking gun. He launched a blistering attack, accusing the Pakistani side of deserting the battlefield even before the battle begins. He suggested they simply lacked the courage to face a live, unscripted debate against a prepared Indian team. He didn't stop there. He also slammed the Oxford Union leadership, accusing them of allowing their prestigious institution to be dragged in muck and effectively becoming a mouthpiece for the Pakistan High Commission. He felt the union had failed in its duty to ensure the event proceeded as planned. Adding to this perspective, Indian lawmaker Priyanka Chaturvedi of the Shiv Sena party also weighed in on social media. She mocked the situation, tweeting, "Pakistan is crying again over an Oxford Union debate. This is for the record. Once again, they have proved to be liars. Expecting any better from them was not even on my list." Her comment amplified the narrative that Pakistan had deliberately sabotaged the event to avoid a difficult public discussion. So, that's one side of the story, a tale of last-minute maneuvers, alleged deception, and a Pakistani team that got cold feet. Now, let's flip the coin and look at the official statement from the Pakistan High Commission in London. Their version of events could not be more different. In fact, it's a image of the Indian claims. The High Commission released a statement expressing its deep regret over the cancellation. But in their telling, the blame lies squarely with the Indian delegation. Their press release stated that the Indian speakers originally listed as General Naravane, Dr. Subramanian Swamy, and Sachin Pilot had withdrawn at the last minute. According to Pakistan, this last-minute withdrawal handed them a walkover. They framed this alleged withdrawal not as a logistical issue, but as a deliberate choice rooted in a lack of confidence. The statement implied that the Indian side was unwilling to defend its security policies in what they called a neutral and intellectually rigorous debate. Essentially, they painted the Indian team as the ones who ran from the fight, unable or unwilling to justify their government's actions on an international stage. This presents a classic he said, she said scenario, but on a diplomatic level. The Indian side says, you lied about your travel plans to avoid the debate. The Pakistani side says, no, you withdrew because you were scared to debate us. Both sides are accusing the other of the exact same thing, cowardice, and a deliberate effort to scuttle the event. So, who are we to believe? Let's try to piece together the facts we have. We know the original Indian speakers pulled out. That's undisputed. We know the Indian team was replaced. That's also clear. The critical point of divergence is what happened on the afternoon of November 27th. Was the call to Sai Deepak about the Pakistani team's travel delay a genuine misunderstanding? A miscommunication from the Oxford Union organizers? Or was it, as Deepak alleges, a deliberate piece of misinformation designed to make the Indian team pull out, creating the appearance that they were the ones who backed down? And what about the Pakistani delegation? Did they genuinely have travel delays that were later resolved, or were they, as Deepak claims, already in Oxford, waiting to see if the Indian side would take the bait and cancel their trip? The Oxford Union, the institution at the center of this storm, has been criticized by the Indian side for its handling of the situation. Sai Deepak has allegation that they became a mouthpiece for the Pakistan High Commission is a serious charge against one of the world's oldest and most respected debating societies. The union's role in communicating with both sides is now under intense scrutiny. Did they fail to manage the logistics properly, or were they manipulated by one side, as alleged? This incident goes beyond a simple canceled student debate. It reflects the deep-seated mistrust and rivalry between India and Pakistan, where even an academic event can become a battleground for national pride and political point scoring. Each side immediately sought to frame the narrative to make the other look weak and deceitful. The motion itself was controversial, touching upon the very sensitive issue of whether India and security actions are genuine responses to threats or merely populist moves designed for a domestic audience. It's a debate that happens constantly online and in political circles, but rarely in a structured, face-to-face format with representatives from both countries. The cancellation means a valuable opportunity for public dialogue, however contentious, was lost. In the end, we are left with two completely contradictory stories. Was it a calculated Pakistani gambit, as Sai Deepak claims, to avoid a tough debate they knew they couldn't win? Or was it an Indian walkover, as the Pakistan High Commission asserts, born from an unwillingness to defend their policies under scrutiny? Perhaps the truth lies somewhere in the murky middle, a story of miscommunication, organizational chaos, and deep-seated suspicion. But in the court of public opinion, both sides have already declared victory and accused the other of defeat. The real loser, it seems, was the debate itself and the chance for any meaningful dialogue. What do you think really went down? Was this a deliberate act of sabotage or just a colossal organizational failure? Let me know your theories in the comments below. This story is a fascinating and frustrating example of how modern geopolitics can turn even a battle of wits into a messy brawl. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown interesting, please give this video a like and subscribe for more deep dives into complex current events. See you next time!